If you're a certified cave diver and you just arrived in Tulum and you have so many options of caves to pick from and you don't know where to start, I've got your back. This is part one of a 5-part series where I'm going to walk you through all of the different logistics, entry places, where to find main lines, recommendations for how to do 5 days of unguided cave diving here in Tulum. Safety note. Please be aware that dives I'm about to be describing in this whole series are intended for full cave divers only. If you're not full cave certified or do not have the equipment to do full cave dives properly, do not attempt these dives. The first cenote on the list is Cenote Cristal, which is the perfect place for you to start. So of all the possible options, why do we start with Cenote Cristal for our first day of cave diving? Reason number one, it's a very short walk, which means if we have to adjust any of our equipment, if anything breaks or we forget something in the truck, it's a very short walk to go back up and get it and get back in the water. You don't lose any time. Reason number two, it has a very big open water area, which means it's got plenty of space for us to check out our new wading, do some S drills, or any other shakedown type skills that you want to do before your first day of cave diving here. Reason number three, just it's close proximity to Tulum itself, which means if for any reason we have to go back to the dive center to pick up whatever we forgot, we don't have to go that far. It's not a huge trek in the jungle, it's a pretty short drive. Number four, it's got really wide, pretty forgiving passages, which means if we are a little rusty on our first day, we don't have to worry about breaking any delicate formations because all the nice formations are not right next to the line. We start with very large open spaces as we explore this new environment. Reason number five is repeatability. This cave has a lot of different directions you can go, which means you can come here multiple times on a trip and still see new cave every day while starting in a place familiar to you. Finding Cenote Cristal could not be any easier. It's on Google Maps, it's on Apple Maps. You literally just follow the GPS until you get there. It's on the right side of the road. You pull off, you go through the gates, and you'll see a booth building where you pay. The cenote typically opens at 9 a.m. and typically closes at 4:30. Now, quick note, this is a hard 4:30. They will lock you in, and it'll be a big pain to try and get yourself out. This is not a place to leave late, so plan your day accordingly. 9 a.m. start at the cenote and a 4:30 hard out. Also note, all times are Mexican and are subject to fluctuating with very little notice if it's a weekend or a public holiday or something. Now note, as you arrive to pay, you'll actually see other signs for another cenote, which is Cenote Mine Blue. That's your day 2. We'll talk about that in the next video. But for today, you're just going to pay there and then keep driving in. Hazards of the cenote. There are a couple hazards specific to Cristal. Number one, this has about the slipperiest staircase of any staircase that we have in the area. As you're getting into the water, please move slowly, especially if you're wearing a twin set. Side mount divers, you can kind of put your tanks on the side and slowly crawl in, but for twin set divers, please move carefully. There is a jumping off platform. It's way on the other side of the cenote, but just note that people jumping from that platform are very rarely looking for scuba divers. So please, as you're surfacing, surface closer to that staircase you got in and out of and make sure you're not in the shallows directly underneath that jumping off platform. So where's the cave entrance itself? As you pull into the parking lot, you'll see the cenote off to your left. If you're standing at that first staircase that you see at the cenote, looking towards the cenote, towards that jumping off platform with the cars behind you, the cave is about halfway into the cenote to the right. So now you've made it to the cave entrance and you want to know where the actual main line is. Cenote Cristal is one of our training caves in the area, which means here they've decided to cut the cave line back a long way so that people can practice laying line to access the main line, which now means you're going to have to lay line to access the main line. As you approach the cave entrance, you'll see off to the left there's a staircase. You can use that, or along the edge of the cave entrance, you'll see some different places to make primary tie-offs. So make your primary tie-off in the open water, and then start swimming down the slope. Try to swim in a relatively straight line and don't immediately zigzag back and forth. Go straight down, and you'll start seeing some wooden posts that have been driven into the silt and into the mud. These are great places to make secondary and third tie-offs further down the slope. Then it's going to open up into a big room, and you're going to go in a relatively straight line. After you leave the bottom of the slope, you'll start seeing a big pile of rocks over onto the left. You can make a little tie-off on top of that or onto the side of it. You keep going a straight line, and you'll see a stop sign, or what used to be a stop sign a long time ago. Make a tie-off behind this stop sign, and then you're going to go like 10 degrees to the left, maybe barely to the left, and you just keep on swimming in that direction. If you're one of those people that uses a compass, from the stop sign, the main line starts around 330 degrees north by northwest-ish. You work your way along, you go up the slope ever so slightly, and you should see the main line there. If you're very lucky, another team has tied into the main line, and you can just run your line parallel to theirs and then connect in further in or something like that. Considering this is your first dive ever in Mexican Cave, on dive 1, we're just going to stay on this main line that we just connected to. About 2 minutes after you connected in, swimming on that main line, you're going to see a double arrow jump to the left. We're just going to stay on the main line on dive 1, but take a mental note of that because that's where you're going to go for dive 2. On this main line, there's going to be 1 or 2 other jumps that are good for subsequent dives here if you decide to come back, so take a note about where they are. If you make it to the end of the line, congratulations! Maybe just turn around. If you have like a ton of extra gas and everything's going great, okay, sure. Feel free to jump forward to the middle of the next line and go to the right. There's enough space to do it, and on this line, if you haven't hit turn pressure yet, you'll definitely hit turn pressure on this line. On this dive in general, depending on exactly how far you'll make it, you'll probably max out at about 18 or 19 meters, and you'll have an average of maybe 15-ish meters. So decompression shouldn't be a big obligation. I would still recommend taking nitrox, always. When you do eventually turn this dive and start heading back towards the entrance, you'll reach your primary reel again. When you get back to that primary reel, if you don't want to, you don't have to pick it up. You can just leave the primary reel in place. I would suggest picking up any markers you've left behind as the team is exiting, but feel free to be lazy and just leave that reel in place. That way on dive 2, we don't have to lay the line all over again. So now for dive 2, we're going to take you to the double domes line, which means we follow that line that we laid into the main line, and we're going to take that double arrow jump to the left that we talked about earlier. So take that jump, however you jump, connect in, then you're going to stay on this line now. Along the way, you will see many arrows signifying many other jumps. We're going to stay on this line until we hit turn pressure. This is kind of what I consider to be spooky cave. It's area where the halocline sits just above the ground, and you get this like white rock poking through dark silt, but above the halocline you have all these dark formations that some of them are quite close to the line. So it's a really fun, little bit more interactive cave with some good decorations. It's just a little darker, but I like it. And I hope you will too. There are several other jumps that you could take off this line. I would not recommend taking any of them on your day 1, especially if it's brand new cave to you. Keep it simple and we slowly progress our way through Mexican Cave. The navigation can get very complex very quickly, so we keep it simple for day 1. Quick note, there are a couple places on this dive where it'd be a very awkward place to turn around, so please make sure you turn around in a nice big open space and don't impact the environment. If you end up loving this cave and you want to come back on your next days, you want to add some more navigation, I would recommend just keep on jumping left. If you want to head towards the Trifragate Tunnel or towards the Southern Sac Bay, either one of those dives, really, really nice. They both just get a little bit deeper and you might involve some decompression now, so maybe bring supplemental oxygen. Super rough rule of thumb here is kind of every time you jump left at Cenote Cristal, you're going to average depth go deeper about 2 meters. Not a hard rule, just a rough thing, all right? Day 1, shouldn't really need oxygen probably for your decompression unless you have really conservative gradient factors. But for those other jumps to the left, then we're probably going to want to start bringing oxygen because now we're doing some deco dives. So that's day 1. Congratulations, you did it. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe. Watch out for part 2 where we're going to be talking about Cenote Mayan Blue, which is just on the other side of the road. Until next time, guys, stay safe and go do something cool.